I am very honored to be standing before you today, a whole 23 years after receiving the BNET Award to pursue an MA in International Studies and Diplomacy. I would like to welcome my parents who have traveled from Nigeria and who are here today. I'm really excited to welcome Prince Adegoke and Mrs. Ayodipupo Ademili. It makes it even more special for me to be speaking to you with my parents here, because a lot of who I am today is down to a lot of what they have invested in me. My husband is here today, my sister is here today, my brother is here today. So it makes it even more special. Thank you all for being here. What a gift the award was 23 years ago. What an impact it had on my education. I remember my mother recalling the news when I told her that I'd received the award. And she told me how she went into her office, shut the door, and danced with delight and gratitude. And it's wonderful that she's here, 23 years on. So thank you. What was formerly BNA, now is BNET. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You can see the photo of my graduation right there. I went to the School of Oriental and African Studies, SOAS, which is part of the University of London. My mother is in the photo, my two brothers, my sister-in-law, my mother's best friend, and my older sister. We're all there to witness the joy of me graduating with a master's. My time at SOAS became a springboard for me to secure work at the Prince's Trust, where I supported young people as an ambassador by championing their skills into education, employment, and training opportunities. Because, ladies and gentlemen, you see, diplomacy isn't confined to roundtables at The Hague or to international conferences that speak to unite nations, or to policies and codes of conduct that exclude some and celebrate others. Diplomacy extends to community cohesion programs that challenge stereotypes of young people on the fringes of society. Diplomacy is about speaking up for the rights of stay-at-home mothers who are bursting with potential beyond just the domestic and the familial. It is also about supporting the education of neurodiverse learners who are at the risk of being disillusioned in the current educational climate. The skills I developed and sharpened during my master's program prepared me for all of these roles and so much more. Now, you might be thinking, that's all well and good. It all sounds fantastic. But where do diplomacy and poetry converge as allies? Well, I'll answer that question. I stand before you today as an ambassador of poetry, or as I like to call myself, a poet-ducator, one who educates through the power of poetry, using rhyme and reason to speak to issues that are pertinent to society, to draw out what lies deep within our humanity. As a poet, I lean into the same diplomatic skills, along with my presence, my poise, and my voice, to speak out and speak into issues such as anti-bullying, the plight of refugees, equality and diversity, and breaking the bias against women. You can find some of these poetic performances on my YouTube channel, Peju Abuchi. So, what am I going to share with you today? The poem that I sent to Elizabeth some months back was about anti-bullying, and I didn't quite feel like that would fit the audience today. And since then, I have written something very special that I would like to share with you. In an era where we're constantly judged by our external profile, LinkedIn likes, Instagram stars, Snapchat claps, I'd like to highlight the innate truth that real change, whether that's personal or organizational or societal, starts from within. So I title this poem, Hearts Are the Hardest to Change. I'll say it again. Hearts are the hardest to change. You may change your name from Zainab to Zain, or from Kolade to Cain, or even from Wanda to Wayne. But if your heart doesn't change, you'll only be the same person playing a different game. Now, who's to blame? You may change your meeting place to give yourselves a lot more space. Add swanky lighting that is really ace. Turn to one another and loudly proclaim grace. But if hearts don't change, that place is still the same. The same people just playing a different game. So, who's to blame? You may turn your house around and change your coffee table from square to round. You may add a splash of color with plants or throw in bookcases that look like giants. But if the heart of your home doesn't change, your house will only be the same. A refreshed, refurbished version of the same. That's the game. You may change your vibe and go as far as to ginger up your tribe, possibly hire a professional as your spirit scribe. But if your heart doesn't change, you'll only be the same. Just the same old person playing a different game. Isn't that pretty lame? You may change your organizational goals to include acceptance of all minds and souls by exaggerating your highs to downplay your lows. But if your organization's heart doesn't change, it'll only be the same place, trying to save face by keeping up pace with the crazy rat race. Disgrace. You may change your nation's vision by adding equality and diversity into your mission, forcing the word unity into spaces where there's a clear division. You may even tick all the boxes for welcoming refugees, struggling, suffering, having lost so much on your seas, and now escaping the swarm and sting of political bees. But if the hearts in your nation haven't changed, you'll only be the same place, professing to play a better game. Lame fame, you know what I'm saying. Hearts are often the hardest to change. So don't get caught up in the game where you only rearrange external policies and laws. No, get to the core where it's really raw. You'll feel sore for sure, but this is a necessary inner war. This deep journey isn't a bore. As you bend and rend your heart, it'll contour. When true change rises from the heart and overflows to the fore, you'll certainly experience so much more. Fight this war. Win this war. And roar. Ladies and gentlemen, hearts are the hardest to change, but when they change, big, bold, beautiful things happen. Thank you.
Yeah.